just quickly. So stay there. I just want to make sure we're in the right place at the right time. This is the important bit to get right. I'm pretty sure we are. Just want to check up on my main page. Yeah, that all looks good. Fab. All right. So let's just see when we get warmed up into this. All right, yeah, we've got people on. If you can drop me a comment when you get a second, just to check that everything's set up perfectly and that you can hear us okay, that'd do me a big favor, and then I know we are ready to go. As you can see, I'm not alone. I'm not all by myself, as I have been on many occasions before. I've got the brilliant Andrew Dickin with me this morning, who's also super excited about being on. Good morning, gentlemen. Right, yes, perfect. We are good to go. We are live. This is fab. Good on YouTube as well, says Amanda. I love a bit of YouTube action. So this morning I'm with the wonderful Andrew Dickin. We're going to get into Andrew's story and his brilliant book that I've had the pleasure, let's make sure I get it, of reading over the last couple of days. I've absolutely loved it. What's really beautiful about this book, not only the subject matter, which I love, it's my Basketful of Happiness, and it's why I call time and alcohol. It actually was a joint venture with Andrew's son, Jonathan. So we're going to get into all that in a second. But just to welcome you on first and foremost, Andrew, how are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely great. Yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed to bits to be on here. Yeah, magic.
Yeah, and Andrew recently took the Arate Way course as well, which was
absolutely
fab. Can hear you perfectly, yeah. Which we had a great time on. We were just talking about it before we got going. I think it was one of our best Arate Way courses. I know you got so much from it. You've got a load going on. You're training to be a PT, personal trainer. Then you're going to come back and do the Arate Way for a bit more. You're going to do the double on the Arate Way, I think, which would be cool.
Yeah, well, I'd started the course on the gym instructor's course on the same Monday. It was supposed to be on the Tuesday, and then they moved it to the Monday. And I knew it was a clash. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to focus on the 12-week course and do the Arate Way as well. So that's why I managed to just get 2 Zooms in. The first one on the Monday and the last one on the Monday. But I never missed the Thursdays with Jill, which were, I love that. I look forward to that. I wouldn't have missed that for anything. That were a really, really clever hour. I used to look forward to that and think, what a brilliant idea, just have an hour's natter with people and just sit and listen. And it were magic. It could have gone on for 2 or 3 hours for me, could that? Because Jill's fabulous, and I could have just sat there all night listening to people and people sharing and hopefully feeling better for it. So I thought that Thursday night thing with Jill were really, really clever, important part for me. It was super.
Yeah, and we do a lot of that in our Mind Body Gym. We do something similar. We get together once a week, and very often you'll hear me saying that on a Tuesday lunchtime or a Monday lunchtime, we've just deep dived into a subject like meaning and purpose, and I'm always sort of walk away from those sessions thinking that was just unbelievable. We just had a discussion about something so deep and meaningful on a Monday lunchtime. When does that ever happen? Like, it's never happened in my life before, and I think that's why these sort of virtual groups and whatnot that we create that then spin out into the real world are so important. But anyway, let's come back to the book, right? Let's get into that. I want to make sure people know all about like why we're here and a bit of your backstory. So do you mind sort of just taking us back? I know this was written over the sort of the COVID period. This was a book that you've been thinking about for a few years, and then obviously COVID happened and there was this opportunity for you to spend more time with your lovely son, who again seems to have got your comedic timing. I think I just love the way that you wrote throughout the book. I thought it was really excellent. And then you've created this thing from like your brain and your story. I mean, you must be so super proud of sort of seeing this in like print right now.
It was amazing. When Johnny came rushing in, I was on the spinning bike, and I was on this spinning bike. This is no word of a lie. And said, "Dad, look, we've got copy." And I just burst into tears. I couldn't believe that I've got a book. I said, I just had to hand him it back. I said, I can't believe that. How have we done that? It was. I don't get the whole thing anyway, but because he's clever and I'm the decorator. So he when he brought it to me at first, it was like mind blowing to see this actual book, and my cousins and all my family was like, "He's got a book out. Have you seen our hand? He's got," like from where I live around here. This is how people are. It's a very close community, and everybody knows one another. And I live in a small area, and so everybody knows your business. And like folks said to me, "Are you not bothered about people knowing all your business? I said, no, because that's the old me. It was important to get that out, to hopefully, if somebody spots themselves in there, to maybe make an adjustments that they might need to do. I'm speeding along there, Andy. So where was I? What? Just remind me. Just start
Don't
again.
worry.
Sorry, Andy.
Where I want to come to next is about the book, and you mentioned something there. What was the sort of motivation behind creating the book in the first place?
Well, I'd like to help the whole world who have a drink problem.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's impossible. It's just a monster task that a decorator from Barnholdswick can't do on his own. So if I could help one family or one person by inspiring them to think that life outside of alcohol is unbelievable and it's like you won't believe how good it is, then I will feel, and it has happened, and I think I've got one, and I'm happy with that one because he's a friend of mine as well, then it's been worth the 5 o'clock starts every morning, writing the chapters down, making the notes and everything else. So it was to just kind of not tell people to stop drinking, because I'm not in a position to do that. If anybody ever told me to stop drinking, it made me worse. So for me, it was just a case of, if I had seen, I love success stories, Andy. I love, if somebody tells me a success story of any form, you know, kid playing golf, whatever it might be, I get really excited about it. And without sounding clever, I have become my own unbelievably successful story. And people tell me that, and it sounds a bit big-headed, but it's actually true that I've become a huge success story from quitting drink. And I just thought, well, I've lost myself again, Andy. I really apologise.
Don't worry. You wanted to share it, and what's really important,
sorry,
just to jump in there, is that, like, that one, and I see this with our coaches all the time. So we train accredited coaches, and the big drive, and it was my drive as well, wasn't to transform the world initially. It was like, if I could help one person, if one person is influenced in a positive way by a live or a post or something that's been said or a YouTube, that's enough for me. And it seems like that was the same motivation for your book. And what you said there was lovely, that you know of one person already that it's helped, and I'm sure it's helped many, many more. And don't forget also the collateral, positive collateral that comes from that. It's not just the individual, is it? And I'm sure you agree with this. It's their family, it's their friends, it's their networks. So the fact that you've found the courage and the time to put the effort into this book, I think it's wonderful, and it's worth celebrating. And that's what I want to do with you today, really. Would you mind sort of giving us the backstory, if you know what I mean, into the book? What actually the story of the book, your story into this, you know, alcohol-free adventure that you're on now?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was at the course the other night, and we were doing like a consultation thing, and what's your main goals and stuff. And I said, well, I've only got one goal, and it's the same number one goal every day, and that's to stay sober. I'm going to, but my number one goal is to stay sober. That is it. And after that, everything just seems to work. So, Andy, I've done it again. I'm useless at this, aren't I? I'm useless at this.
You're not. Don't worry. I'll just keep firing at you. You just go for it, and then I'll come back.
The book.
Let's go back.
The idea about the book was, I wanted to start at the beginning of the sober journey. So when you read the book, you realise that it goes into sobering up straight away. Wow, he's got sober, and then it drops back. I like them films when you watch a true story where it starts where the crime or whatever's been committed, and then it drops back and shows you the build up to it, and wow, what happened on the journey, and then after that, you know, this kind of thing. So we said, let's sit down, let's do the book. I want to start it where people are straight away realise that this guy has given up drinking, and it's great. But let's drop back and see what happened to him and why he ended up in the position he ended up with alcohol in the first place. And in my case, it was my ambition to be a really good drinker. So number one, I wanted to drive. So the first chapter is I wanted to drink and drive. And that is exactly true. I wish my time away from the age of 14 to 17. I passed my driving test first time. I only had 3 or 4 lessons. I was determined to drive. And I was also determined to be a good drinker. And by that, I mean not falling down drunk or being violently sick. I mean holding my own in a pub with the old guys, being a man. And that's what I did. And I was brilliant at it. But the trouble is, is it got me, it hooked me in, and I can only speak for me. I didn't realise I was very, very dependent on alcohol from an unbelievably young age. In everything I did, it was hugely important to me, to the point where I sacrificed everything for alcohol. I mean, somebody said to me the other night at the class what I was going to, but why did you originally give up? For health reasons. No, I didn't really care about my health. As a drinker, that would get in my way. I was just skint. I just spent everything I ever had. I went bankrupt. This house that I'm in is a lovely house. That was repossessed in the court in Bradford. We had to borrow to buy that back, which I've now got rid of all that debt through being sober, of course. So for me, it just got me to the point where I would have spent everything I earned and did on alcohol. So, and it went through the journey of me. It goes, the book goes, then it was like, right, well, Christine and I got together, and, you know, I'm grateful to this day she's walking around in the house today, because I look back and I think, wow, how did she put up with me for so long? I weren't a bad person, violence and anything like that, thankfully. I just got drunk and I just spent everything we earned on money. We got holidays, we got nice trips here and there, but when you're coming back off a holiday, and it's awful, because all you can think is, well, that's probably going to be the last holiday I can go on. I can't pay my bills when I get back. And all of a sudden, that dreadful feeling of driving home, thinking, oh no, I'm going home now. I used to hate coming off holidays. Now I can't wait, because when I come home, I can go on another next week. And because I can go on another next week, I don't go on another next week, because I don't need to. So I have a new policy in my life. I want and do it, but do I really need? So if I want something now, I'll look first whether I need it, and then I'll buy it if I do, if you know what I mean. So another specialist waffle there, Andy. Went straight back into another waffle.
Perfect. You are the king of the waffle. It's great. Don't worry about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And listen,
so
and then,
the real reason for me quitting alcohol in the first place was the financial commitment to being a drinker is unbelievable. I reckon of my lifetime, from 18 to 52, of being a drinker, I've probably spent £200,000 on alcohol. And if you look on that windowsill behind me, there's no trophies, nothing to show, not a single thing to show for it. Nothing. Somebody said to me, well, you've had a laugh. I laugh at work every single day, all day I always have done. My laughs are at work. So, you know, that should be compulsory. You should be made to laugh at work every day. That's just one of my things, is that. And so, and nothing. 200 grand. What about, you know, you had brilliant times on holiday. What you're telling me, I couldn't have enjoyed myself on holiday. And now as sober, I realise I'm having a bit of a year of looking back at what might have been, you know, like, oh my God, imagine if I'd give up drinking when I was 30. And so becoming sober is a challenge as well, you know, because I've got to adjust to this new person, you know, new way of life, which is mind-blowing.
Yeah, and I will often, when I've done talks with sort of teenagers before, like 18-year-olds and footballers as well, because I did a lot of talks at the football academies, and I'd sort of tee it up really nicely. I'd be like, look, if I offered you £10,000, would you not drink again, right? And there's sort of, everyone's thinking about it a little bit, but not quite biting on the hook. And then I'm like, what if I offered you £100,000, right, to not drink? And then a few of them you can feel sort of like, oh, I'm tempted, I'm properly tempted. Then I'm like, what if I offered you £200,000? Would you stop drinking? And then a few hands go up. And I'm like, brilliant, don't drink. There you go. You just saved yourself £200,000. It's so true, isn't it? It's so true. The amount of money that we spend. And it's great that you said there's no medals to show for it. There's nothing to show for it. It's just like, it's just a loss on the bank balance, isn't it? Rather than a gain when you go alcohol free. And that's what's so lovely to sort of see your story now and how it's turning. And now there's that excitement. You're going back to train to be a PT, you're reading, you're taking courses, you're showing up. And there's a couple of things I just want to come back to. Two things you mentioned I just want to pull out a bit. You mentioned wanting and needing. And I think that's really key. And is that a little mantra that you use to actually break down? Because we talk about a gap between stimulus and response. And I guess there was probably a moment in your life where if it was like, I want it, I'm going to have it. want it, I'll have it. Whereas now it feels like you've cultivated a gap by actually having the space to look at it and go, actually, I want it, but do I need it? Is that something that you work on?
That's bang on to that, because I want a gin and tonic, but I don't need it. I want a bottle of red wine, but I actually don't need it. Of course I want it. I go to visit my cousin once a week, and he's drinking vodka and cokes in front of me, and we have a real laugh. It's like I look forward to it. I'm going tonight, and he'll be having a drink. Actually, he's doing sober October, so he might be happy with himself tonight. But I won't give him any stick, because I don't feel I'm in a position to say, oh, you should be doing this all year round. He might come to that himself. But yeah, I sit there and watch people. I go in restaurants, and if I go in an Italian restaurant tonight, and I sit and watch that Peroni pump with condensation running down it, and I can see red wine on shelves all over. That does a lot of damage. That hurts. But I just think, yeah, but why? What's in it for me? What would actually become tomorrow? And it's just absolutely, there is actually nothing in it for me. Is this sort of let somebody else have it, and I don't do it. So, and I'll never drink ever again. And I used to say to myself, well, one day when I'm a bit older, I might sit down in Pollensa or in Northumberland and have a glass of wine. I thought, go on, what? To gain what? What would you be getting from it that you're not getting now? Why would that coffee? Why would you? And I thought, you know what? Why would I? Because I'm going to be going to gym. If I get to 80, I'm still going to be doing deadlifts. I'm still going to be going on my bike. So, no, it's going to get in my way. So why would I give way to something that's ruined me? Totally and utterly ruined me, financially and physically. Why would I let it back into my life? It'd be strange, wouldn't it? So, no, it's not coming back in. But that's why when we did the book with all the different chapters and things, what happened with Andy with the book was, if I go out for a walk, and I go out for a walk with you and we're having a chat, and I found myself talking to people, like, you don't drink anymore, Andrew, how are you finding it? And we talk and they go, flipping out, I do that. Well, that's what I used to do. And I thought, wow, everybody's got a similar story to how alcohol possibly can control you. And I thought, well, if I can put a story, if I put the story down now of how much benefits I'm getting from not having it, hopefully somebody might think, wow, I could have that as well. It sounds like better than it was before for Andrew. People, so that's how I tried to, without lecturing, every time we read a chapter back, we wanted to take, there's a bit of a lecture in there, take that out, and Johnny wrote the chapter, but we used to take that out. That's a little bit telling. Just let's let people find for themselves that they might be in there somewhere. And like that Gray's Sports Almanac, I was pleased with that one. You did the fantastic TED talk, blew my mind. The Limitless Pill. First time I saw that Limitless Pill, I was laid there on YouTube. I thought, what's this guy here on? I thought, oh, how good's this guy? He's getting better. And then it's going on and on. My competitive nature's taken on. I'm thinking, this guy's doing my head in. He's too good as this guy. Who's this Andy Ramage? Is that good? And the more I watched it, the more annoyed I got. It's how fantastic. And I'm getting so competitive as to how good this guy was. I thought, give in, Andrew. He's the Cristiano Ronaldo of this job, so you just have to back off. And that's when I thought, wow, that is brilliant. But I'd already done a similar thing with the Grey Sports Almanac, because mine and Johnny's trilogy of Back to the Future, wonderful films. And I always think it's fantastic when Biff gets that book and then causes carnage all over. But what would you do if you found a book that had all the cheats and all the secrets to amazingness? A bit like the Limitless Pill, the Greys. So I like to think of my Basketful of Happiness as a Grey Sports Almanac off Back to the Future. Like, wow, can you really have money in the bank? Can you really be able to go on holiday 4 times a year? And yeah, you can if you follow this guy, what this guy's done, sort of thing. So that was it was fun at the end of the day, Andy, and we really, really enjoyed doing it. And it was fun for me because I'm sober, so how could it not be an absolute pleasure? I mean, if I pick the book up and read certain chapters, I can be unbelievably emotional from not even just buying it. I read a section the other week and I burst into tears, like not even thinking about it, just wow, it just gone. I can't remember what the bit were, and I said to Chris, I said, wow, this book sometimes hits me so hard, remembering what I used to think was a good idea, what it used to do to us. Unbelievable,
Yeah,
So
it really is powerful, and yeah, I was going to actually talk to you about that because you've got that red stamp on it that says this is not an anti-drinking book.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, I just didn't want to offend anybody that drinks, because
Yeah.
if you drink and you don't have a problem with it and you enjoy it and you want to drink for the rest of your life, then fabulous. I, aren't you lucky? You know, um, it doesn't do that with me. It takes over. So if you can, so I didn't want people who do have a drink thought, hey, oh, who's this guy witching on here now, anti-drinking, or, you know, with plant-based at the moment. By the way, the Arity Way, the fantastic piece of advice in the Arity Way is the food tribe. We are plant-based, Christine and I. Now we've been plant-based for about 12 weeks, 3 months, and it's just transformed us. It's amazing. And so if somebody says you're a vegan, well, no, we're not vegan. We're plant-based, and
Yeah.
not that I'm against vegans or vegetarians or meat eaters. I'm not anti anything. We are now plant-based. Brilliant, that, Andy. By the way, that is, because you can't have Chinese takeaways and Indian takeaways and chocolates and sweets of the week. Then you're plant-based.
Yeah, you can still squeeze them in.
Yeah,
You can still squeeze them
how
in.
quickly though? How quickly do you adjust to enjoying it? You know, it's like, oh, couldn't do
It's
that.
amazing, isn't it?
You'd be amazed how quickly you do get to really, really enjoy it. Oh, I couldn't do that. I don't know what you're doing that for. Couldn't do that. It's, you know, I eat what I want. You know, and I said, well, we eat what we want. It's what we want. It's what we want to eat. We love it. We're not doing it under protest. You know, oh, that's a load of rubbish. That we eat what we want. So do we. You know, it's fantastic. It's been plant-based. It's a wonderful, wonderful.
And on that note, do you think, and I see this all the time, I think that taking a break from alcohol or stopping drinking, in your case, gives you the confidence to think differently and challenge everything in your life. And I'm pretty sure, I'm guessing that maybe before taking a break from alcohol, had someone come along and said, do you want to change your diet to plant-based? You probably would have said, what? You know, like jog on. Whereas you come out the other side of taking a break from alcohol and it's like, actually, maybe I can try this, I can open my mind up to that, and you just start to, that's what it feels. You feel like you're right in that sweet spot now where you just can't get enough of learning and new ideas, and you're thriving in this alcohol-free environment.
That's a brilliant, brilliant point, Andy. That is so true. I mean, everything in moderation. Never did anything in moderation. Now I do. You know, it's like I go to the gym less than. I tried to out-train a bad diet, Andy. I am the man who tried to out-train that bad diet, because I trained more then than I do now. I was on my bike more then, and I was at the gym more then. And I've lost 3 stone in weight since I gave up drinking. I've kept it off. I lost 3 stone really quickly, and I've kept it off. And it's and I, you know, and I have it in my mind that it's actually easier to lose weight than it is to put it on. And my cousin who will say, "How do you work that one out?" I said, "Well, if you're putting weight on, it's horrible. It hurts. You're uncomfortable. You go to bed at night mad. What's easy about that? Whereas if you're losing weight or you're the weight you want to be, it's absolutely fantastic. So life is easier losing weight than putting it on. Putting weights on is bloody hard work. So I think that taking weight off, getting rid of weight, well easy. If you said to me, I'll challenge you, Andrew, what do you weigh? 13 stone. Challenge you to get to 12 stone. I'd say, well, give me something hard to do, Andy. It'd be so easy, it'd be untrue. I lost too much weight. I put half a stone back on. I've just put half a stone back on purpose because I'd lost too much weight. So I don't find losing weight now hard work. I think putting weight on is impossible. That's when you go into bed fully clothed, without cleaning your teeth, you're in agony, you know, and all this has happened in the space of 2 hours. You've gone from a really happy person to mortified that you've had 4,000, 5,000 calories, and you're in agony on your bed. You think, hang on, what was easy about that? That's bloody hard work to me. So I'd rather go to bed hungry. Hunger's my friend. I love going to bed hungry. I get in bed at night hungry. I think, ooh, real dudes, I'm going to feel fantastic tomorrow. But going back to that is an absolute result of being sober. If like you said, somebody that said that's what you're going to feel like, I'd have thought you're off your head there with that one. And it's a bit like with, I found faith. I go to a little chapel up in Kendal, Unitarian chapel. So I've got really, I'm not going as much as I were, but I love the Unitarian faith. It's one that's like completely, there's no creed. It's just everybody wants to get on, and peace and love, and yeah, it's and you just think, well, if everybody were just right with everybody all the time, and if you want to be a Muslim and I want to be a Catholic and you want to be Church of England or whatever, why can't we all just get on? And that Unitarian faith thing's been amazing. It really has been fabulous for me. It's taught me to respect everyone a lot better than I did when I was a drinker, because as a drinker, I thought I knew everything and I knew nothing. But I was horrible as a drinker, Andy. I was an awful person. But sober, I respect everybody as much as I possibly can. It's,
And I think what that is as well, I think that's coming back to your authentic self, isn't it? I think this is the bit that when alcohol's in our world for too long, it clouds who we really are. We lose ourselves a little bit, and actually it feels to me like you've come back to the real you, to like your authentic self is shining through again, which is a really beautiful thing.
I tell you what, you're good, aren't you? You know your stuff, don't you? You're good, aren't you? That's brilliant, is that a bit? Well, just on the religion thing, when I'm at work, the lads who I work with, and we are giving one another stick all day long. Love that. Love, you know, call it banter, call it what you want. I just love that.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, look at AD, he's gone all religious on us now. What's he doing? You know, and I'll say, well, you worship the devil. And they'll say, what are you on about? I say, the devil's in your glass every night. The A&E's full of people who've been worshipping the devil every weekend. There's people causing problems in the families all over because the devil's in the drink. There's only the devil would do that to a family member. I know it sounds a bit, and this, you know, I know this sounds a bit like, wow, what's he doing here? But you think if there's such a thing as the devil, surely he lives in a glass of beer, because he's got the perfect platform to work from as the devil in a beer glass, hasn't he? Because he can make you do things that you would never even dream of doing sober. So I'll argue that one. Somebody says the devil's not in a drink. I don't like arguing, but I'd have to question that. I'd have to definitely question that. So that sounds anti-drinking. That sounds like a bit anti-drinking, but I'm not anti-drinking. I'm just defending myself from anybody that said I were too, you know.
Yeah, the banter. I could imagine.
Basically.
And you said something earlier that I also wanted to come back to, which was about that you started to reflect back on your life and think, oh, if only I'd stop drinking in your 30s, what could have been, and all these type of things. But, you know, even just to say that to you, I think a lot of people feel like that. It's that reflection back of, oh, if only I could have done it. But the greatest thing you've ever done is stop now and share this story. I think it's so powerful, and you're so down to earth. You've got a beautiful way about you that I think will inspire so many people going forward. And that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about looking forward. It's about being excited about what next. And by the looks of it, between, you know, experiencing all these new things around religion, your connection again, showing up again, a book, PT, the Arate Way, where's it all going? What's your dreams and hopes for this? I know we said about that one person. Is it to do more around this, or what's the future hold?
Well, that's a really brilliant question, Andy, and I appreciate you asking that, because when we did the book, I said to Johnny, I don't want any money from it, and he's had a little pot growing in an Amazon account, which is brilliant. But I don't even know what's in it. I've never asked him. I know he's got a few quid out of it, and good on him. He worked damned hard to write it. So for me, I always just thought I'd just love to spread the word, and I wonder whether I'm probably not quite got what it takes to do a TED Talks and stuff, or
you absolutely should.
You know,
absolutely should.
Well, I really appreciate it, Andy, because honestly, got to be there for somebody who had a problem like I had would be, well, it's moving. When I used to go to AA and I used to see some of the people at AA, young people, I used to be nearly crying every time I came out. I used to think, oh, flipping it. You know, it's awful to see. You see people on the streets and they're homeless and stuff. And do you give to the homeless? Of course I give to the homeless. You know, I work for a client, and I've got some fabulous clients, you know, and they'll say, you don't give to the homeless, do you? I said, every time I pass them, I said, you'd never be homeless. I said, what if I decided I was going to be homeless? What if I made that decision? I don't want you to help me anymore. I'm going homeless. These kids, whatever, you don't understand. You've no idea what's got them there. It's dreadful to see people homeless. Like, wow. You know, haven't we been fortunate? I mean, going back, my family have been it's not about me, Andy. It's about my family and the support I've had from my wife, my kids. You know, I've been a great dad. I know I have. We're into music in our house. We like going to watch bands and stuff. And so my sons have always been in groups. I've always driven them to gigs and took the gear with them and sat at the back and, you know, watched them play and stuff. And so we're well into music in our house. So I've been a don't think I've been an awful dad. I've been a good dad. I just think I could have done better. And yeah, I think I could have done a better job. And one of the guys who Johnny works with, who's a fabulous lad, and he's read the book and he really sees himself in that. He's got a young lad who's 4 and he goes to AA and he goes every week, and he hasn't had any alcohol or drugs for about 4 or 5 years now. And he said the book was so moving for him to think that he could have seen Seth, his son, could have seen him the way Johnny saw me, you know, and he's so determined not to let Seth, his son, see himself like Johnny saw me. Because Johnny talks in the book about how we thought it was totally normal to come in from a night out and find your dad unconscious on the floor, surrounded by bottles of wine and beer, and your mum's in bed and the dot's in the middle of the telly and dad's sparked out on the floor. And Johnny just walked past me and thought, hey, dad's asleep on the floor again, and that must be normal. But it isn't normal, and I wish I'd never done it, but I did. So I'm sorry for that to anybody affected, and I'll always, you know, I'll many a time I'll go up to Christine, which, you know, in the kitchen, and give her a cuddle and tell her I love her and say thank you so much for putting up with me, because, you know, at the time I didn't realise how testing it were for you to want to pay your council tax, but I'd already spent that money on the council tax on me. So on rewarding myself for the hard work I'd done that day, or the good news I'd had, or the bad news I'd had, or whatever it were, any excuse. So I'm unbelievably grateful for people sticking by me, Andy, through it, and I think it's massively important that. Wow, dark. Sorry.
No, it's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. I know everyone listening is just sort of totally engrossed in what you're saying. It's really beautiful, and lots of people saying about the TED Talk as well, by the way. So we're going to need to make that happen. I think you do such a great TED Talk. But it's on. I'm telling you, everyone's saying it. It's on.
Wow.
It's going to happen.
Well,
I'll help you if you want.
Well,
I'll absolutely help you do it.
On your website, the Andy Ramage website, it's mind blowing, and I've put down for the coaching thing to you're one of my heroes, Andy. Let's just get it out there. You're just one of my heroes. I've seen you on with Rich Roll, who's another absolute hero, sleeping in his tent at night outside that fantastic house.
Yeah, he does. I've seen his tent.
Like I love to hear stories like that, and I get really, you know, interested in stuff like that. And so when I seen the coaching thing that you do, I thought, once I want to do my level 3, I want to do my level 2. Yeah. I'd love to do that coaching thing. I bet that's fantastic.
Yeah, you'd be brilliant.
Coaching is amazing. You can only be brilliant.
Yeah, you'd be fantastic at that. Let's make that happen. Let's get this TED Talk happening as well. And then, just so everyone knows,
nobody'd be able to understand what I was saying. They'd be like, "What's
no, it'd be perfect." No, it'd be perfect. That will make it even better. The realness of it. It doesn't have to be all polished and perfect. It's about you just getting up there and giving it some. I reckon it would be an absolute winner. Sarah says.
The thing is, Andy, when you know, with the Harry to Wear, and we'll just touch on this one if you don't mind for a short, just for a brief one. Christine, my wife's absolutely brilliant on Facebook with her. She does a daily post, and she does some fantastic skin products, and she's really on it. And I envy people who do it, but I feel that I've lost out on so much time that I almost feel like I've got to go and walk Pendle Hill. I've got to go out on my bike. I've got to go and go to the gym. You know, Saturday's typical for me. I can walk Pendle Hill in the morning, which is a challenge. Then I'll come back and get my bike out and go for a mountain bike ride. Then I'll come back and have a shower, and then I'll go to the gym. So I can do 3 things on a Saturday before 2 o'clock that I couldn't have done one of before. And then I'm like, right, what are we doing now? Do you want to go and do a bit of shopping? And it's like, And so for me, it's like, well, if I had to sit down, I might not. I'm rubbish at time management, so it'd take me as long to type, "Hi Andy, how are you today? I hope you're having a great..." I could have been up Pendle Hill by the time I've typed that one out. You know, I'm hopeless. So, and I'm being serious. I'd love to get out of my comfort zone and be more like Neat P, who's on the Arity Way.
Yeah,
I
Neat.
remember Neat. I mean, the name's just tremendous anyway. And so you just remember Neat and think she's superb, is Neat, and she's on it. And I envy that. I think I wish I were more on it, but I just have to deal with what I do. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're more than on it enough. So what I wanted to do, just quickly before we finish it off, is make sure I show everyone the book. So it's My Basket of Happiness, Why I Called Time on Alcohol. It's written by Jonathan, so just to be clear, because obviously this is Andrew here, but Jonathan is Andrew's son, Jonathan Dickin. It's on Amazon. Check it out. You're going to love it. I think you've all fallen in love with Andrew today. I think this is a real cracker of a read. Please do make the effort to get a copy. I know lots of you have already said on the chat that you're going to get a copy, which is super cool. I love it. Andrew, we'll do this again. I look forward to maybe you joining me on the coaching course. I'm really looking forward to your TED talk. I think that's got to happen. I think you've got a brilliant story to share. It's going to happen, my man. It's going to happen. I can feel it in my bones. And I tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing a bit of a world tour. So when I'm up your neck of the woods, whereabouts are you based again?
We're on the Yorkshire-Lancashire border. So I've got Skipton in North Yorkshire one side and Burnley in Lancashire on the other side.
Right, I'm going up north. So on my way up north, at some point on that trip, we'll catch up for a cheeky get together. Yeah,
that would be great. Just to really quickly about that book there, you've just reminded me of something. When I gave up drinking, if you look, there's before and afters, and it's very much about before and after. Is that book, because the guy on the left is a picture in Heathrow Airport, rough, dropping Johnny off to go to Japan, and in a real world of hurt. And the guy on the right is, I've just had my hair cut in the lounge by Christine, and I'm buzzing and I'm on fire. And it's all about before and after. And when I gave up drinking, I genuinely thought I'm going to have to pretend that this has been the best thing I've ever done. I know it's not going to be, but I'm going to have to pretend to people. So that means I'm going to have to lose weight. I'm going to have to do things that, wow, it weren't pretending. It turned out to be absolutely true. You know, the before and after pictures, I did kind of sneakily want to do them so people didn't think I was stupid for giving up drinking. It was done as a sneaky little ploy that I better lose a load of weight than think this giving up drinking thing's been a good idea for him. You know what I mean? And so it was then all of a sudden it's like, hang on a minute, it is fantastic. So yeah, that's true. That's why there's quite a few like before and after pictures in there. In fact, inside the book there's some before and after pictures of me and Christine on 2 holidays, and Christine's virtually the same, but you'd think she's the same, but there's about 5-6 years difference. And the one above is in Mallorca, when I'd never even went on the beach that day. I hated myself that much. Wouldn't even go on a beach holiday. I hated myself passionately. And the one below is in Northumberland, just happy as Larry, just stood on the beach with the beautiful, lovely wife who has put up with murder. So yeah, that's why the before and after pictures are really important to me, because the after is unreal.
Yeah, and what's nice about that is it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you said, you sort of worked hard to look different because it might actually promote the alcohol-free lifestyle, but actually in doing that, you ended up feeling great, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy anyway.
It's so true, is that, and it's mad, isn't it? Yeah, how crazy is that? Yeah.
I love it. So Sarah's saying a group climb of Pendle Hill on the cards. Yeah, I think I've got to climb this Pendle Hill.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Who's Sarah? That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Sarah Prophet Ramsey. She's your sort of side of the world. So yeah, I'll be heading that direction to catch up with Sarah, I'm sure, at some point. So maybe we'll get a little group climb of Pendle Hill. You can lead the charge.
Brilliant. Superb. Really good idea.
Andrew, you've been absolutely brilliant. I think everyone's loved that this morning. You're a superstar. I will see you soon, most definitely. Thanks so much for sharing. Thanks so much for having the courage to write this book, to help that one person, which I'm sure you're going to help many people. You're an absolute ledge. I will see you soon on Pendle Hill. I can feel it. It's going to happen.
Andy, you don't know. you don't know how much this means to be doing this, because 4 years ago today I would, in a bad way. So to be doing this with you today is outrageous. I can't thank you enough, Andy. Really, really, really important. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and good luck with whatever you do. Keep up the unbelievably good work. You're an hero. You're an absolute hero. Cristiano Ronaldo is nearly as good at his job as you are at your job. He's brilliant. He really
Only I
is.
could
He's
play
nearly
football
as
like
good at
him.
his job as you are. But yeah, Andy, thank you so much for having us. It's been great.
You're a superstar. You're a superstar. Thanks everyone for listening and all your lovely comments. I hope you enjoyed that. I think everyone really, really enjoyed that, and we'll see you all again soon up Pendle Hill. It's going to happen. See everyone.